Hi, Kate Dalby here. I'm going to work through a question from the old SAT book. It's test number 7, page 790. It's question number 19 out of 20, and that makes it a very hard problem. Now, as hard as it is, if you know the rules, you can actually work through the problem pretty quickly. You do need to know a couple of rules. One I gave you on a previous video, and the rule is for combining two exponents that have different bases, two numbers with exponents with different bases, but the exponents are the same. And what you need to do is just say, if you have a to the x, b to the x, that's ab to the x power. So you can combine numbers with different bases if the exponent is the same. The other rules that you need to know is the square root of x can also be written as x to the 1/2 power. And then the final concept that you need to have an understanding of is if you have a number a equals b, then the reciprocal is 1 over a equals 1 over b. And we can write the reciprocal of a as a to the -1 equals b to the -1. So those are the three concepts you need to know in order to do this problem. So we come over to the problem, and the problem is x to the -4/3 equals n to the 2nd. And they give you y to the 4/3, not quite the same thing, equals k to the 2nd. And then the question is, what is xy to the -2/3 power in terms of n and k? Now, the first thing you need to keep in mind is this rule, which says you can combine bases if the exponents are the same. But the exponents aren't the same. They're slightly different. But we know that if we say a equals b, then the reciprocals are the same. Well, if we take this to the -1 power and we take this to the -1 power, we have y to the -4/3 equals k to the -2nd. Now we're trying to combine the x and the y, as we see here. So if we write x to the -4/3 equals n to the -2nd, we can multiply these two values together and say x times y to the -4/3 equals the quantity nk to the -2nd. Now, we're not quite home, but we're really close, because all we have as a difference is this is 2/3 and this is 4/3 or -4/3. Well, if we have -4/3, what do we have to multiply it by to get -2/3? Well, if we multiply it by 1/2, this would cancel and we get -2/3. Okay, so all we need to do, remember this rule, the square root of x is equal to x to the 1/2. All we need to do is take this to the 1/2 power, take this to the 1/2 power, and we get xy to the -2/3 power is equal to nk to the -1 power. And in the book, the answer choices have this as 1 over nk, which is another way of writing the same notation. So if you are going through the old SAT book, which is a very good practice for the new SAT and for the ACT, and you come across this one, hopefully this will help you work through it if you have difficulties doing that problem. Thank you. Bye.